The wine hit the white marble before the glass did. Samantha Hayes wiped it without flinching. Black, 33, head housekeeper of the Kang mansion for 8 years. Her uniform was spotless. Her hands were steady. Her phone buzzed once that morning. The nursing home. Her mother's bill doubled overnight. Then the front door opened. Clarissa Whitmore Kang walked in with 3 friends, a Birkin on her arm and a diamond tennis bracelet catching the chandelier. Loud heels. Louder laugh. She pointed at Samantha like a waiter points at a dish. "Today's entertainment," she said. The 4 women sat. Samantha served. A foot stretched out under the table, a glass tipped on purpose, red wine across the white marble, across Samantha's apron, across 8 years of silence. Are you this clumsy every day? What none of them saw was the small black dome on the ceiling, the blinking red dot, and the man watching it from the 2nd floor. Kang Tae-hyun, 6'1", black tailored suit, the dragon tattoo crawling up the right side of his neck. They called him the Quiet One for a reason. He was supposed to be in Seoul until Friday. He wasn't. He poured himself a glass of water, sat down in front of the monitor, and pressed record. What he was about to find on that camera would tear the Whitmore family apart. Before starting the story, comment down below where you are watching from and what time it is there. If stories of karma, love, and hidden truths move you, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a member and help our channel. Samantha pressed the silver tray flat against her hip and answered the phone on the 2nd ring. 6:12 in the morning, and the east wing of the Kang mansion still smelled of last night's lilies. The voice on the other end belonged to the administrator at Maplewood Care. The monthly bill had doubled, effective immediately. The new rate would be drafted Friday. She did not sit down. She did not breathe out. She thanked the woman, repeated the figure once to confirm she had heard it, and hung up. The tray went back on the sideboard. She straightened the white apron over the black uniform. Then she walked to the kitchen the way she always walked, heel to toe on the marble, her hand running once along the banister to check for dust her staff had missed. Rosa was already at the stove, ladle in one hand, reading glasses pushed up onto her forehead. She looked at Samantha the way mothers look at daughters who are pretending. How much? Twice what it was. Rosa set the ladle down. By when? Friday. The cook crossed herself. Then she crossed the kitchen, took a clean cup from the warmer, poured coffee that was meant for the dining room, and set it in front of Samantha without a word. Samantha drank it standing. "Mrs. Kang is back," Rosa said. "Came in last night. 3 suitcases. 3 friends in town for the week." Samantha set the cup down. The porcelain made the small, sharp sound porcelain makes when the hand placing it is steady on purpose. "She'll want to put on a show today," Rosa added. "She always does. After a trip, and with an audience, she'll want it bigger." "I know, Samantha. I know, Rosa." The cook reached across the counter and pressed 2 fingers against the back of Samantha's wrist. The grip was brief. The message was not. Then Rosa picked up her ladle again and went back to the eggs as if nothing had happened. By 7, the foyer was lit. By 8, the silver was polished. By 9, the upstairs maids had stripped the guest suites, and Samantha had personally inspected every fold of every towel because Clarissa counted folds. By 10, the florist had delivered white peonies, and Samantha had rearranged them twice because Clarissa hated symmetry on Mondays. She did the math while she worked. Her salary, after taxes, after the studio she rented on the Bronx side of the river, after groceries, after the bus card, left her with $740 a month. The old Maplewood rate was $600. The new rate was $1,200. She was $460 short before the first Friday of the month had even arrived. She thought of the night course in hotel management she had paid the deposit on. The deposit was non-refundable. She thought of her mother's hands, which no longer remembered her name on bad days, but still reached, always reached, for a hand to hold. She thought of the dignity of a woman who had cleaned other people's houses for 31 years, so her daughter would not have to. Samantha would clean for as long as it took. But the course was the door out, and the door out had a deposit on it that was about to walk away. She did not let any of this show on her face. She straightened a peony. She moved on. At 12:47, the front door opened, and a laugh came in ahead of the women who made it. Clarissa Whitmore Kang crossed the foyer in white cream silk and red-soled heels, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light from the chandelier. Her three friends a half-step behind her in a triangle. "There she is," Clarissa said, eyes locked on Samantha across the room. "My little entertainment for the week." With a redhead, Brielle smiled with the corner of her mouth. Monique kept her face neutral, pearls touching pearls at her throat. Tessa, the youngest, the sharpest, pushed her white sunglasses up onto her head and looked Samantha over the way someone looks at a vase before deciding whether to buy it. "Girls, this is Samantha. She runs the house. Don't be fooled by the apron. She thinks she runs me too." The friends laughed on cue. Samantha inclined her head. "1 inch, no more." "Lunch in the conservatory," Clarissa said. 1,100 plates. The Limoges, not the everyday. "And Samantha, you'll serve." "Yes, ma'am." "And Samantha." Clarissa was already moving toward the corridor, but the sentence landed over her shoulder. "Try not to drop anything. We're going to be watching." The conservatory had been set for 4. Samantha set it for 4. White roses, low. Crystal, the Limoges. She poured the first wine herself because she did not trust the wine steward today. Clarissa watched her pour. Brielle watched Clarissa watch. Monique watched her own plate. Tessa watched the door, bored already, looking for the next thing. "Did you grow up serving, Samantha?" Clarissa said, lifting her glass. "Or did you have to learn?" "I learned, ma'am." "From your mother?" "Yes, ma'am." "And where is she now?" "In a care facility, ma'am." "How sweet." Clarissa sipped. "Tell me, is it a nice one?" It was. The was hung in the air for 1 full second. Tessa's eyes came back to the table. Brielle's smile did not move. Clarissa set the glass down with care, and the corner of her mouth lifted the way it always lifted when she had found the soft spot. "You know," Clarissa said, "I've always wondered, where exactly do women like you imagine elegance comes from? The clothes? The address? Be honest." Samantha refilled the water without looking up. "Elegance never depended on what a person was wearing, ma'am." The room cooled by 2 degrees. Brielle's smile finally moved. Tessa set her fork down, and somewhere on the 2nd floor, on a monitor in a study no one in the conservatory knew was occupied, a man in a black 3-piece suit reached forward and turned the volume up. Taehyun watched the monitor without leaning back. He sat at the edge of his chair, both hands flat on the desk, the way a surgeon waits for the next instrument. On screen, Samantha set a fresh napkin under Clarissa's wine glass. Her hand did not shake. He noted that. He had come home 4 days earlier than anyone in the house knew. Not Clarissa, not the staff, only David Sullivan, who stood now by the study door with a tablet under his arm. "How long has she worked here?" Taehyun asked. 11 months. "And the others? The friends?" First time inside this house. Brielle Ashcroft, Monique Vandermeer, Tessa Cromwell. David tilted the tablet, 3 photographs already pulled. Cromwell has 2 prior incidents. Bergdorf, 2023. A bracelet she forgot to return. Taehyun did not look at the photographs. He looked at the monitor. Clarissa was laughing with her head tipped back, the diamond bracelet on her wrist catching the chandelier. Samantha stood 3 steps behind her, hands folded. "Record everything," Taehyun said. "Audio too. Already running. 6 cameras in the conservatory, 2 in the corridor, 1 above the buffet. Move the buffet angle closer." David tapped twice. The frame zoomed. Samantha's face filled the left side of the screen. Calm, the kind of calm that costs something. Taehyun's jaw tightened once and then released. "The Whitmore audit," he said. "Where are we?" 3 accounts cleared, 2 flagged. Her father moved 800,000 into a Cayman shell on Tuesday. Print it. David did not move. Sir, if we move now, the divorce settles fast. If we wait, we wait. Taehyun's eyes did not leave the screen. She'll show us why. Downstairs, Clarissa lifted her glass and tapped it twice with a fingernail. Refill, she said, without turning. Samantha stepped forward with the bottle. She poured at the angle Rosa had taught her. Label out, wrist soft. The wine climbed the glass. Clarissa raised one finger when she wanted her to stop. Samantha stopped. You know, Clarissa said to the table, I read once that good servants are invisible. Like furniture. You only notice them when they break. Tessa laughed first. Brielle followed. Monique smiled with her mouth closed. Samantha did not move. The bottle stayed level in her hand. Bring out the dessert tray, Clarissa said. The full one, Rosa's masterpiece. I want my girls to see what we eat in this house. Rosa was already in the doorway with the silver tray. 3 tiers, macarons, a small chocolate dome, candied figs, a row of madeleines still warm. She set it on the sideboard and looked at Samantha. Just looked, the way a mother looks at a daughter walking into traffic. Samantha took the tray. She crossed the marble with both hands beneath it, weight centered, the way she had carried trays in the brasserie on 8th Avenue when she was 22, and sending half her paycheck home. 12 steps from the sideboard to the table. She counted them without meaning to. On step 8, Clarissa pushed her chair back. Not far. 6 inches. Enough. Samantha's hip met the edge of the chair. The tray tipped. She corrected. Her training corrected. But the wine glass on the upper tier was already gone. Red wine over the white marble. A macaron rolled under the table. The chocolate dome cracked clean across the middle. The conservatory went quiet. Clarissa turned slowly in her seat. Oh, she said. Oh dear. She stood. She walked one full circle around the spill, heels clicking, and stopped in front of Samantha. Are you this clumsy every day? She asked. Or only when there's an audience? Samantha lowered the tray to the sideboard. She did it without hurry. She did not look at the floor. She looked at Clarissa. The chair moved, ma'am. Did it? Clarissa tilted her head. Did it really? Yes. A pause. Tessa coughed into her napkin. Brielle's hand drifted, almost casually, toward the open mouth of her Chanel bag on the chair beside her. Samantha did not see it. The camera above the buffet did. On the second floor, Taehyun leaned forward an inch. Freeze that, he said. David tapped. The frame held. Brielle's fingers, half inside the bag, half on the table. A glint of something. Diamonds. Not Clarissa's wedding set. Something older. Something Taehyun recognized. That's my mother's bracelet, he said. Quiet, flat. David's eyes lifted from the tablet for the first time. Are you certain? It was in the south safe. Yesterday. David already had the radio at his lips. Lock the conservatory exits. No one leaves until I say. Wait. Taehyun raised one hand. Not yet. Sir. Let her finish the show. Downstairs. Clarissa had moved closer. 2 steps. Close enough that Samantha could smell the perfume. Something French and expensive and 3 hours old. Get on your knees, Clarissa said. Clean it. Samantha did not move. Did you hear me? I heard you, ma'am. Then, I'll bring a cloth, Samantha said. From the kitchen. It comes up faster with cold water and salt. She turned. She walked. Each step measured. Through the conservatory doors, down the corridor, into the kitchen, where Rosa was already pulling the cloth and the salt from the cupboard without a word between them. Rosa pressed both items into her hands. She held on a second longer than she needed to. Mija, she whispered. She wants you to break. I know. Don't. Samantha walked back. The cloth was folded into a perfect square. The salt was in a small porcelain dish. She knelt. She chose to kneel, and she worked the wine out of the marble in slow, even circles. Clarissa watched from above. The friends watched from their chairs. The cameras watched from the ceiling, and on the second floor, Tae-hyun stood up from his desk for the first time in an hour. He buttoned his jacket. He walked to the door of the study and stopped with his hand on the frame. "Bring me the file on the bracelet," he said, "and get the lawyer on the phone." Samantha was on her knees with a cloth in her hand when Clarissa came back into the dining room. The wine had spread further than it looked. Past the rug, under the leg of the sideboard, Samantha had already moved the chair, lifted the rug edge, blotted twice. Her wrist ached from pressing. She kept pressing. Clarissa stopped 3 steps away and watched. Brielle and Monique trailed in behind her, laughing about something that had happened in the hallway. Tessa came last, glass refilled, sandals clicking on the marble. The laughter died when they saw Samantha on the floor. "Oh," Clarissa said. "You're still cleaning." Samantha didn't look up. "Yes, ma'am. It's been 20 minutes. The wine soaked through the rug, ma'am." Clarissa stepped closer. The red sole of her Louboutin came into Samantha's eyeline, then the other one, then both, planted on either side of the wet patch Samantha was working on. Stand up." Samantha lowered the cloth, folded it once, set it on the silver tray she'd brought in. She stood. The friends had arranged themselves in a loose half-circle behind Clarissa, the way an audience arranges itself when it knows the show is about to start. Tessa took a sip of her wine and smiled around the rim. "Your apron is stained," Clarissa said. "I'll change it before service, ma'am. And your hands." Samantha looked down. The wine had reached her palms, pink at the heel, dark at the cuticles. She didn't answer. Clarissa lifted Samantha's left hand by the wrist, held it up to the light from the window like a piece of evidence, turned it slowly so the friends could see. "This is the hand," she said, "that touches my plates. Yes, ma'am, that folds my towels. Yes, ma'am, that sets the table for my husband." Samantha's pulse moved into her throat. She kept her face still. She had been told, at 14, by a woman who cleaned houses in Atlanta, that the trick was never the face. The trick was the breath. Slow the breath, and the face follows. She slowed the breath. Clarissa let the hand drop. "Brielle, darling, hand me my bag." Brielle's smile flickered. For half a second, Samantha saw it, the tightening around the mouth, the eyes that went to Monique and away again. Brielle reached for the Chanel on the sideboard. She kept one hand pressed against the side of the bag as she lifted it. Not openly, just enough. Samantha clocked the hand, filed it. Clarissa took the bag, didn't open it, set it on the table beside the wine glass. "I want to say something," Clarissa said, "and I want the rest of the staff to hear it. Rosa." She didn't turn her head. "Rosa, come in here, please." Rosa appeared at the kitchen doorway with a dish towel over her shoulder. Her eyes went to Samantha. She didn't move past the threshold. "Closer, Rosa." Rosa took 2 steps in. No more. Clarissa smiled. "Samantha, you've been with this house, what, 4 years?" "6, ma'am." "6." Clarissa nodded, as if the number proved her point. 6 years, and we still have wine on the floor. We still have stains on the apron. We still have a girl who answers back at lunch as if she were the one paying the salaries. "I didn't mean to answer back, ma'am. You said elegance never depended on clothing." "I said it didn't, ma'am. That's answering back." Tessa laughed once, sharp, then stopped. Clarissa stepped in, close enough that Samantha could smell her perfume. Something dense, floral, expensive. Close enough to whisper if she wanted. She didn't whisper. "Remember your place." Samantha looked at her for a full second. In that second, she counted what she was about to lose. The salary that paid the nursing home. The doubled bill from the morning call. The course she had not signed up for yet. Her mother's room with the window that faced the dogwood tree. The quiet years she had stitched together one shift at a time. She counted it. She let herself feel the weight of it. Then she said, "I remembered. Now you remember yours." The slap came from Clarissa. One palm, open, across Samantha's left cheek. The sound was smaller than the moment deserved, a flat, clean crack that landed and was gone. Samantha's head turned with the force. Her hair fell across her face. She didn't lift her hand to the cheek. Monique drew in a breath she didn't release. Rosa's dish towel hit the floor. Samantha turned her head back. Slowly, the cheek was already going red. She looked Clarissa in the eye and did not blink. "You can dismiss me, ma'am," she said. "You cannot keep hitting me." Clarissa raised her hand again. This time something stopped her. Not Samantha, not the friends. Her own hand froze at shoulder height and stayed there. Brielle stepped forward. "Clarissa, quiet." The hand stayed in the air. Samantha did not move. She did not step back. She heard, very faintly, the hum of the air conditioning, the tick of the long case clock in the foyer, her own breath, slow. Clarissa lowered the hand. "Get out of this room," she said. "Get out of this house. Take your things from the staff quarters. David at the gate will sign you out. Do not come back." Samantha bent down, picked up the cloth she had folded, set it back on the tray, lifted the tray with both hands. She walked past Clarissa, past Brielle, whose hand was no longer on the bag, past Monique, who was looking at the floor, past Tessa, who would not meet her eye. She stopped at the doorway, next to Rosa, and said, quietly, "The bracelet is in the Chanel." Then she walked out. Behind her, no one moved. Not yet. The Chanel sat on the table beside Clarissa's wine glass, and above the table, in the corner of the ceiling where the molding met the wall, the small black eye of the camera kept watching. The door to the dining room opened without a knock. Kang Tae-hyun walked in the way a man walks into a room he already owns, slow, unhurried, the black suit absorbing the light from the chandelier. Clarissa's wineglass paused halfway to her mouth. Brielle's hand slid, by reflex, deeper into the Chanel bag at her feet. Monique looked at the floor. Tessa, who had been laughing a second before, swallowed the laugh and forgot to close her mouth. Samantha did not move. Her cheek still burned from the slap she had given, the only one in the room, and she kept her hands folded in front of the white apron, the way she had been trained to keep them 10 years ago. Taehyun stopped at the head of the table. He did not look at his wife. He looked at the corner of the ceiling, where the molding met the wall, and lifted one finger toward the small black eye of the camera. "It records sound," he said. "It has recorded sound for 4 years." Clarissa laughed. It was a thin laugh that tried to be amused and came out as a cough. "Darling, you're embarrassing yourself in front of the staff." "David," Taehyun said. David Sullivan stepped through the same door, the gray suit, the earpiece, the black folder under his arm. He set the folder on the table next to the wineglass. He did not open it. He did not need to. The thickness of the folder was a sentence in itself. "The footage from this room," David said, voice flat, "goes back to the month you married Mr. Kang. Audio and video, backed up off-site every night. Mrs. Kang, your friends, your phone calls, your guests, every minute." Tessa stood up. She sat down. The plastic of her white sandals squeaked against the marble. Clarissa set the wineglass down with the careful slowness of a woman trying to hide a shake. "Tay, you're being ridiculous. This is a private home. It is my home," he said, "and she works in it." He turned, for the first time, to Samantha. He did not smile. He inclined his head, once, the way he had inclined it when she handed him coffee for 10 years, and he had never spoken her name out loud. "Miss Hayes," he said, "sit." Samantha did not sit. She remained standing, because to sit at that table now would have been to accept that it was ever a table she had been kept from. Taehyun read it in her shoulders and did not insist. "David," he said again. David opened the folder. He laid out 3 photographs, face up, one in front of Brielle, one in front of Monique, one in front of Tessa. Then he laid out a 4th, larger, in front of Clarissa. The 4th was a still frame from the corner camera, time-stamped 14 minutes earlier. In it, Brielle's hand was inside the open Chanel bag. the diamond tennis bracelet from the second drawer of Clarissa's vanity glittering between her fingers. The bag was on the table. The bracelet was going in. That bracelet, David said, was reported by Mrs. Kang 2 weeks ago as misplaced. The insurance claim was filed 9 days ago. The footage shows Miss Ashcroft removing it from the master suite at 11:51 this morning, with Mrs. Kang holding the door for her. Brielle's mouth opened. Nothing came out. "Nobody leaves this room," Taehyun said, "until what was taken is returned." Brielle's hand came out of the Chanel slowly, the way a hand comes out of a trap. The bracelet was on her palm. She set it on the white tablecloth between the bread plate and the wine glass, and the diamonds caught the light from the chandelier and threw it back at Clarissa's face. Clarissa stood up. The chair scraped. "Tae, you cannot possibly. Sit down." She sat down. He turned back to Samantha. "The cup of wine on the floor. Was it an accident, Miss Hayes?" "No, sir." "Who pushed the tray?" "Mrs. Kang." "David." David produced a second photograph. The angle was lower, from the camera over the sideboard. Clarissa's hip, the deliberate turn, the tray going down. He set it in front of the 3 women who had been laughing 20 minutes earlier. None of them looked at it for very long. "Mrs. Whitmore Kang," David said, "your prenuptial agreement contains a morality clause. Theft from the household, conspiracy to defraud the insurer, and physical assault on staff, each trigger forfeiture. The footage covers all 3. And quote. The 3 friends learned, in the same second, what it meant to be a witness in a room where the witness had been recorded. Tessa was the first to speak. "I didn't touch the bracelet. I didn't know about the bracelet. I want that on the record." Monique nodded twice, fast. Brielle began to cry, quietly, into the green silk of her sleeve. Clarissa did not cry. Clarissa looked at her husband the way a child looks at a parent who has just removed the floor from under her, and Taehyun looked back at her with the same face he wore when he signed contracts. "My lawyer will be here in 40 minutes, he said. "Yours has been called. You will sign what he brings. You will leave with what you came with. The Birkin stays. The colliers stay. The ring stays." He turned away from her as if she had already left the room. He walked to Samantha. He stopped 1 step short of her, the distance a man keeps when he is asking a question and not giving an order. "There is a building on 63rd, he said. "A school. Domestic training, the certifications, the placements. The Kang Group will fund it. Your name on the door. Director and partner. Salary 5 times what you earn now. Your mother moves into the residence on the 2nd floor next month. The fee at sunrise is paid through. Decide when you are ready. Tonight, if you want." Samantha looked at him for a long time. The slap was still warm on her palm. The wine was still red on the floor behind her. "Tonight," she said. He nodded. Once, the way he had nodded at her for 10 years, and for the first time, the nod meant something he had never been allowed to say out loud. She untied the white apron. She folded it in half, then in half again. She set it on the back of the chair Clarissa had been sitting in. Then she walked out of the dining room without looking at the camera, because the camera, finally, did not need to watch her anymore. In the corner of the ceiling, the small black eye blinked once and kept recording the woman still seated at the head of a table no longer hers. If you want to watch all the stories without any ads and also get access to bonus scenes, extended epilogues, and exclusive spicy chapters, head over to our Patreon. Scan the QR code on the screen. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment. See you there. If this story moved you, stop for a moment and reflect. Have you ever served someone for years in silence, knowing they only saw the uniform and never the woman inside it? Have you ever been called clumsy for a glass someone else tipped on purpose and wondered if the truth would ever be louder than their laugh? And when the camera of life finally turned on, did the people who humiliated you realize, too late, that someone powerful had been watching the whole time? Tell us your experiences and feelings in the comments. We read them all. And if you believe in stories about dignity, silent justice, and hidden truths, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a part of our community and help the channel